Hello everyone, today is Friday, April 29th, 2022, and you are welcome to first edition of Nigeria Today News. We are already through with the first quarter of 2022, and here is one of our big stories of 2022.
In late March, China News Weekly reported that hospitals in Beijing were closing their obstetrics units and switching obstetricians to gynecologists because of a shortage of newborns. On the other hand, according to the CIA World Fact Book, Nigeria has the highest birth rate in the world at 47.28 average annual births per 1,000 people per year.
Today, let's have a look at the international population crisis. We will be doing a comparative analysis of the international population, looking at different countries of the world and how they compare to Nigeria. We will be looking at growth rates, effects, and consequences, and making some key recommendations on how Nigeria can leverage its huge population to attain growth and development rather than its huge population becoming a burden. Let's take a look at China. According to the most recent data provided by the National Bureau of Statistics of China in January 2022, the Chinese population amounted to around 1.41 billion people in 2021. The number of births in 2020 and 2021 was lower than expected, maybe also due to the effects of the coronavirus pandemic. And China has witnessed the largest flow of internal migrants in world history, resulting in an urbanization process that is of considerable historical proportion. These forces combined have created a population that is rapidly aging and rapidly urbanizing. Is China's population shrinking? After many decades of growth, China's population could begin to shrink this year. Suggested data released recently by China's National Bureau of Statistics, the number shows that in 2021, China's birth rate fell from the fifth year in a row to a record low of 7.52 per 1,000 people. China News Weekly. The article gives examples from Beijing and other places. Beijing first integrated traditional Chinese and Western medicine hospital, Dongbao District. The original annual delivery volume of 3,000 less than 150 last year. Beijing Chaoyang Maternal and Child Health Care Hospital is a little better, with nearly 5,800 beds in 2016 and more than 2,000 in 2021. At the Guangdao County People's Hospital in Handan, Hubei Province, the number of obstetricians delivered dropped from more than 1,500 in 2016 to 789 last year. In the first 2 months of this year, just over 50 babies were born. The maternity department of Anji County Maternal and Child Health Hospital in Huhao City, Zhejiang Province, which had 3 floors, has removed 1 floor. Half of the maternity ward at Huangdao No. 2 Hospital was closed. In general, obstetrics is shrinking all over the country, and the smaller the city and the smaller the hospital, the faster the contraction. Big hospitals in big cities can keep some orders from pregnant women by being relatively concentrated, but there is also a marked surplus of wards. Let's take a look at the birth data during this period. Statistics from the National Bureau of Statistics shows that since 2011, the birth rate has peaked for about 5 years, as the population peaked in the late 1970s and early 1980s entered childbearing age, and the country gradually relaxed the 2-child and 3-child policy. Then from 2017 into the trough, all the way down, there is no rebound trend. In 2011, the number of newborns in China was 16 million. After that, it increased for 6 consecutive years and reached a small peak of 17.86 million in 2016, temporarily returning to the level of the 20th century. Then it fell back to 2011 level after 2018. In 2020, 12 million were born, and in 2021, only 10.62 million were born. Until now, the trend towards urbanization has continued, but the absolute decline in birth has not been able to hide it. However, 2022 will be the first year of the negative population growth indicates, and only the second time since the Qing dynasty that fewer than 10 million people have been born each year since 1961. This year, even big cities such as Beijing will shrink their maternity wards, and the number of beds in children's hospitals is likely to shrink as well. Now let's take a look at the Nigerian scenario. Nigeria now has 215 million people and 7.5 million babies are born every year. Without fundamental change in Chinese society, China could end up with fewer births than Nigeria in the coming years. While China faces the problem of new birth reduction, Nigeria is one of the most densely populated countries in Africa, with approximately 215 million people, and is also the country with the largest population in Africa and the 7th largest population in the world. It is estimated that by the year 2050, Nigeria will have the world's largest population. In the news, Vanguard News reported Nigeria to become third most populous country by 2050. UN reports. The report said by 2050, the third most populous country will be Nigeria, which currently ranks 7th and which is poised to replace the United States. The Economist also reported that African population will double by 2050. By 2050, Nigeria is forecasted to have 400 million people, meaning it will overtake the United States as the world's third most populous country. The starkness of this fact, its population is currently about 200 million, illustrated the degree to which demography will shape Africa's future. Available data from other sources such as the United Nations, the World Bank, shows that the Central Africa is the fastest growing region globally, and Nigeria, however, has the fastest growing population in the world. China's neighbor, Japan's birth rate, are shrinking faster than expected. The pandemic and the economic uncertainty have caused a decline in birth rate globally. The United States also presents an interesting scenario. Over 300,000 babies are estimated to have not been born in the United States as a result of the pandemic. Economic uncertainty, migration restriction, and couples choosing to have smaller families are having a knock-on effect in the form of global population decline. The age of people giving birth to a child is also increasing, with the average age at the time of having a first child being 30.7 years. But the United States has never worried about its population, relying on its comprehensive strengths. The United States has attracted the richest and the most highly educated immigrants in the world. According to statistics, the United States attracts most of the world's high-end population of immigrants every year. In the news, according to the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of Consular Affairs, immigration has been a major source of population growth and cultural change throughout much of the United States history. In absolute numbers, the United States has a larger immigrant population than any other country, with 47 million immigrants as of 2015. The total immigrant population has towered in recent years, especially since the election of Donald Trump and the COVID-19 pandemic. Census estimates shows 45.3 million foreign-born residents in March 2018 and 45.4 million in September 2021, the lowest 3 years increase in decades. On the contrary, let's also take a look at the effects and consequence of reduced population. With lower population growth, you can expect there to be a lot fewer young people and a lot older people over time. If the population growth is low enough, population decline will also lower the military age population, and therefore military power is reduced. A falling population also lowers the rate of innovation, since change tends to come from younger workers and entrepreneurs. The strain on mental health, labor productivity will decline due to excess labor. The decline in birth rates brings about a series of problems. First of all, the shortage of young labor force will lead to an increase in labor costs. For developing countries like China, the shortage of labor force in the future will have a direct impact on China's manufacturing and service industries. Secondly, the aging population means that there will be more pressure on old age care. Thirdly, a shrinking population is bound to affect the consumer market and long-term economic development. Population growth seems to be better for an economy because it means younger and eager workers starting families. With a growing economy, it will have less trouble supporting an aging population. Decrease in China's population. There will be a large population of old people with an economy in disarray because there are not enough younger productive people to both take care of the elderly and also contribute to their economy. Energy shortage, environmental pollution, and pressure on employment. The demographic dividend is a double-edged sword. How to balance is a problem. But China was aware of the situation and immediately put measures in place. The number of beds has dropped in the central city, but it is certainly worse in rural areas and border areas where many villages may not have had a baby for several years. On March 24th, the Standing Committee of the Guangxi People Congress passed a new version of the Family Planning Regulation, which stipulates that couples who have 3 children can have another child if both of them live in border countries, cities, or districts. In other words, couple in Guangxi border country can have 4 children. However, the Guangxi Autonomous Region also knows that relaxing quotas alone is not enough to stimulate fertility. The real barrier to fertility is the cost of education. On March 28th, the Guangxi Autonomous Region issued the implementation plan of the Education Promotion Project in border areas, which provide 100% of the border's compulsory education in border areas with subsidies. All schools within 0 to 3 kilometers of the borders, including kindergartens, will be covered by the government, from preschool education to high school tuition. Public school tuition is not the main cause of childcare, and free education cannot fundamentally solve the fertility problem. Panzhihua, southwest China's Sichuan province, was the first city in China to offer subsidy to encourage childbirth. The city held press conference on 28th of July 2021 to announce the city's 16th policy and measures for promoting human resources gathering. According to the measures, families with household registration in Panzhihua who hold 2nd or more children under the policy will be given a childcare subsidy of RMB 500 per child every month until the child is 3 years old. It is also the first city in China to issue child care subsidy. It is understood that Panzhihua City, located in southwest Sichuan and northwest Yong'an, is a rising city due to 3-line construction. The average population per household was 2.45% to 0.55%, less than that of the 6th national census in 2010. The pro-birth policy brought Panzhihua into spotlight, and the city's slogan changed from a city named after flowers to a city that gives birth to life. After Pashowa, more and more cities began to introduce different facility incentives policy to encourage couples to have 2 or 3 children. But the effectiveness has yet to be tested. The demographic dividend is a double-edged sword. Now let's take a look at the effect and consequence of high population. Overpopulation worsens numerously environmental and social factors such as pollution, malnutrition, overcrowded living conditions, and a lack of quality health care, which means poor communities vulnerable to infectious diseases. Diseases such as tuberculosis, malaria, HIV, dysentery spread faster in overpopulated areas. It is only logical that an increase in the world's population will cause additional strain on resources. More people means an increased demand for food, water, housing, energy, healthcare, transportation, and more. And other consumption contributes to ecological degradation, increased conflicts, and a higher risk of large-scale disasters like pandemics. Let's also talk about falling mortality rates. The primary cause of population growth is an imbalance between births and deaths. The infant mortality rate has decreased globally according to the World Health Organization. At the same time, lifespan are increasing around the world. Let's also look at the effect of the lack of female education on the population growth rate. Although female access to education has increased over the years, the gender gap remains. Roughly 130 million girls worldwide are out of school currently, and an estimated 15 million girls of primary school age will never learn to read and write, compared with 10 million boys. Increasing and encouraging education among women and girls can have several positive ripple effects, including delayed childbearing, healthier children, and an increase in workforce participation. Plenty of evidence suggested a negative correlation between female education and fertility rates. Another effect of high population is ecological degradation. An increase in population will inevitably create pressure, leading to more deforestation, decreased biodiversity, and spike in pollution and emission, which will exacerbate climate change. The high population can also lead to increased conflicts. The scarcity brought about by environmental disruption and overpopulation has the potential to trigger an increase in violence and political unrest. We are already seeing war fights over water, land, and energy resources in the Middle East and other regions, and the trauma is likely to increase as the global population grows even larger. Higher risk of disasters and pandemic. Many of the recent novel pathogens that have devastated humans around the world, including COVID-19, Zika virus, Ebola, and West Nile virus, originated in animals or insects before passing to humans. Part of the reason the world is entering a period of increased outbreak activities is because humans are destroying wildlife habitats and coming into contact with wild animals on the more regular basis. A lot of factors have been noted to work simultaneously to inhibit population control in Nigeria. The overall effect of this growth on the living standards, resources used, and the environment will continue to change the Nigerian landscape for a very long period if nothing is done to checkmate the rapid population growth. The following factors, amongst many, are generally considered to be the most important. Religion. The Islamic religion in Nigeria promotes large families with the encouragement of early marriage and the polygamous family system. The Christian religion is torn prohibits in the most effective form of contraception, and most are anti-abortion. Lack of education. The lack of education, especially as related to population education, sex education, and the lowering of infant mortality and birth rates. Male child preferences. In many cultures in Nigeria, male offspring are more highly valued than females for a variety of reasons, like carrying on the family name, greater upper body strength for physical labor, which leads to the common practice of continuous childbirth in an attempt to have male children. Old age social security. In many cultures in Nigeria, children are the only form of support for their elder generation. High infant mortality. The perceived need to have many babies so that some will survive, work on the farm, support aged parents, and so forth. To appreciate the seriousness and danger of an increase in population, we need to examine its impact on the ecosystem and resources. These impacts are seen already through non-renewable resources consumption and depletion like crude oil, coal, land degradation, waste disposal, weather modification, rapid urbanization, water pollution, soil pollution, air pollution, and desertification. An increase in Nigeria's population will bring the problem of poverty, overcrowded city, unemployment, low capital income, low life expectancy, low quality of life, and higher crime rates due to equal distribution of wealth and insufficient financial resources. The stagnant population in Europe. Europe is amid unprecedented demographic stagnation. The growing proportion of individuals aged 65 and older in the total population has become an irreversible feature of European demographics. Mass out migration has added to the problem, which is now creating lots of job opportunities. Many European countries need immigration to shore up their declining labor forces and sustain their economy. However, to reverse a shrinking population by creating tech opportunities, challenging cultural norms, long-term sustainable policies. Casual observers have suggested that a variety of potential factors are responsible for the decline, including greater take-up of highly effective contraception, the high cost of raising children, improved occupational opportunities for the women, and the high level of student debts carried by young adults. At the beginning of the pandemic, jokes circulated that lockdown will cause a baby boom, but global economic security had the opposite effect on birth rates. The Brookings Institute estimates that 300,000 babies were not born in the US as a result of pandemic. Population balancing. The demographic balancing equation calculates the change in a population over time. If the population is balanced, there will be sustainable development, assuring that all women, men, girls, and boys enjoy the dignity and human rights to expand their capabilities, secure their reproductive health and rights, find decent work, and contribute to the economic growth. Developing policies and investments to secure that future requires that governments know the size, sex, location, and age structure of their present and future populations. If there is a high increase in population, then there should be creation of job opportunities, investments in the agricultural sectors, industries, quality education, hospitals. If these are not put in place, there will be a high rate of crime, kidnapping, hunger, food shortage, property shortage, aging dependence, unemployment, high rate of insecurity, and poverty. The current world population is 7.9 billion as of April 2022, according to the most recent United Nations estimate elaborated by Worldometer. However, Nigeria has the largest population in Africa. Population control is seriously needed if Nigerians are to live sustainably. The United Nations projects that the overall population of Nigeria will reach about 401.31 million by the end of the year 2050. By 21,000, if current figure continue, the population of Nigeria will be over 728 million. According to the Census Bureau of the United States, the population of Nigeria will surpass that of the United States by 2047. When the population of Nigeria will reach 379.25 million, with those numbers, Nigeria will become the third most populated country in the world. The major contributors to Nigerian population growth are early marriage, high birth rates, and a lack of family planning access. The birth rate in Nigeria is about 37 births per 1,000 people. The reason Nigeria's birth rate is so high is because of its low economic status, which leads to high fertility. Social factors encourage fertility, which include joint family, caste system, lack of social mobility, the lower status of women, community life, and joint occupation. For the most part, the reason given for wanting a large number of children were to help with farm work and to provide old age support, honor, and prestige. Several beliefs and perceptions that affected decisions around fertility were mentioned. The extended family is the dominant economic and security unit for its members, which assures high fertility rates and justifies the belief that the high fertility is rewarding. The question now is, what is the way forward? For Nigeria, the increase in population is a two-way court. The Nigerian government needs to move fast in building more industries, investing in agriculture, growing the economy, creating job opportunities, and making education affordable. And also attracting high-end population, developing themselves, retaining high-end talents in the country. We believe that the Nigerian population should not be a curse, but a blessing, and as such, government should put measures in place to promote the quality of the population, not just the quantity. Nigeria is the fastest growing population in every case. So when addressing overpopulation, it is crucial to take an approach of providing empowerment, creation of industry, quality education, agricultural sectors, hospitals, and job opportunities will reduce the rates of crime and also reduce other social problems. Areas we believe government in all levels should pay attention to include universal access to quality education and empowering women. It is a fact that keeping girls in schools makes them less likely to have children at a young age and therefore reduce the number of maternal deaths. Empower women, assuring equal rights treatment and opportunities for both genders, promoting family planning. Simply educating men and women about contraception can have a big impact. Good sex education program and the implementation of family planning programs that enable access to contraception reduce the number of unwanted children and therefore improve the lives of members of the family unit, allowing them to optimize their resources and avoid situations of poverty, hunger, or diseases. Creation of job opportunities to reduce the rate of crime in the country. Make education entertaining, and the government should provide incentives. Generously fund family planning programs. Make modern contraception legal, free and available everywhere, even in remote areas. Improve healthcare to reduce infant and child mortality. Restrict child marriage and raise the legal age of marriage, minimum 18 years. Provide information and access to reproductive health care. make sterilization free for men and women, or at least cover under all healthcare plans, legalize abortion without restriction or social stigma, integrate family planning and safe motherhood programs into primary healthcare system, make sex education part of the basic educational curriculum. At Nigeria Today, we harness the power of storytelling to empower listeners to live healthier and more prosperous life, which in turn contributes to stabilizing the national and global population so that people can live sustainably with the country's renewable resources. Please drop your comments, questions, suggestions, and solutions below, as we will be taking them one after the other to analyze. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page, Nigeria Today. I am still Oyiza Adi. Thanks for watching.